Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Let's look at what we've got to deal with today. Today is the 19th of September, right here. So, full moon. And then we have the moon. It's going to be a full moon in Aries. We're in Pisces right now. We're moving to Aries. Actually, if we go back here, we see this show exactly what time the moon goes full. It doesn't have that right here. But what we do see is that we are making the transition from Pisces to Aries at 11:58 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this afternoon we'll definitely be well into the Aries. So an Aries moon, Aries is all about fire, ideas, creativity. It's the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's water, emotions. So what we're doing is we're going from Pisces, these water, these emotions, into these new ideas, these creative ideas that we can put forward. We go from the ending of the cycle to the beginning of a new cycle. So every day, energies move us through cycles. And the zodiac moves round and round and round all the time. It's been going around for thousands of years. And as it goes around, these cycles begin and end, begin and end. And so if we learn from them, if we look at them and realize these cycles go around, we can learn lessons from them. So the thing we need to look at today here, we got a square tonight between communication, Mercury, and expansion. Okay, so communication and expansion, how we speak, and suddenly more of an opportunity to speak. But just kind of see what kind of challenge you have in the area of expanded communication later tonight. Okay, that's what that is. Otherwise, we're dealing with fire, ideas on the subconscious mind, and Earth sign Virgo on the conscious mind. We go to the moon sign. There's our full moon, 100% of the way there. The Mayan Oracle, we're at an 11-tone day. We're right here, 11-tone day. It's still in the wave spell of the moon, purification. The kin for today is the storm, and the guide is also the storm. Phrase is, I dissolve in order to catalyze releasing energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation with a spectral tone of liberation. I am guided by my own power doubled. Spaceweather.com, solar wind is up a bit, 563.1 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is up in the threes, quiet, but more than just one, so we know that there's a little bit of activity going on. And the solar wind here coming off the coronal holes. We got the coronal hole right here. We got a few remnants left over. This is what sends that solar wind out into the space around it, and sometimes it hits the Earth, sometimes it doesn't. Here we have our M-class possibilities up to 5% now. It's been sitting at 1% for a while, so we've got a little bit of something going on there. And geomagnetic storm activity is pretty low at the moment. Here is the report for today from Suspicious Observers.
Good morning, folks. Want to take a quick moment to remind everyone that our anti-AGW climate forcing position has nothing to do with the health effects. We advocate for pollution reduction on those grounds alone. If you need your ice on fix and haven't seen the collection Tony Phillips has over at spaceweather.com, how you like them apples? Interesting document just released by AMS discussing the ability to 1. Predict and 2, detect major weather events, how their predictive abilities don't always match their ability to detect them, and they go over a number of significant weather facts and getting down to an interesting little chart they have showing how good they are at each of the stated meteorological goals. Zooming in on Colorado, forget the orographic lifting, cutoff flows, or biblical rain totals. The new news is at the fracking sites. There are reports of damage, contamination of the waterways, and burst pipes. Another good explanatory video on the storm here. Certainly not the only major event on the planet right now. Japan now recovering. But Mexico, la pesadilla no ha terminado. You got Ingrid to the right, Manuel a la izquierda, and it just won't stop. I'm sorry to say that this disaster is still in its early stages. As for Umberto, he always was a bit of an outcast. Oh, and by the way, the South China Sea is getting scarier. That's headed right for Hong Kong. Dear NASA, dear Iris team, what the ever-loving hell have you been doing? Where are our pictures? If they're being posted somewhere and I'm just missing them, somebody let me know, because at this point we are weeks past the point of righteous suspicion as to the not-so-inconspicuous lack of data. We now have Soho confirming the arrival of a coronal hole stream. Speed is nicely set above 500 kilometers per second, streams all around us, but not causing any instability. The bigger story is still the solar eruptive potential. The developing sunspots close to center disk have maintained magnetic separation within the trailing beta group. The big incomer is attracting lots of attention from all angles, but still not terribly complex or firing strong yet. Incomers up north depress me. We'll come back to eruptive potential. Gong shows that the solar magnetics facing Earth are somewhat unstable at the moment. ISWA standing firm, stating our current hole is very weak, with the real showstopper heading in from the limb as we speak. Even with ISWA's weak diagnosis, we haven't seen a 6-pointer in days. The full moon complements the coronal hole tonight, along with the space weather stream and Venus conjoining Saturn in the evening sky. Quake watch is slightly elevated. Back to eruptive potential, that's a filament, Earth-facing, destabilized, erupted. The satellites will be updated for the evening news. Until then, I'll put a moderate to mid-strong impact watch at Earth around 75%, with an elevated chance for geomagnetic storms. Eyes open. No fear. It's 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
All right. Continuing on. Okay, so today what I want to bring to you is Julia Cannon. Now, Julia Cannon is the daughter of Dolores Cannon. And you've heard Dolores. Dolores talks about her years as a therapist, hypnotherapist, how during the course of her time she's been able to have communications with beings, energies, mind thoughts that speak through the client she is working with. Regardless of the client, it's just a continual conversation she seems to have. She's written several books on the subject and based on information she received during the course of these sessions. So we've talked about her. She talks about the Earth splitting in two dimensionally, this new heaven, this new Earth. You've heard those talks. Well, this is her daughter, and this is a talk she's going to be doing about the same thing. Wanted to bring this to your attention. And also, before we get there, this is her website, JuliaCannonSoulSpeak.com. This is one of her books. You can go here and read all about who she is. If you click on the About, it gives you a little insight. Julia was born in Hutchinson, Kansas, to Johnny and Dolores Cannon. Johnny was a career Navy man, so they moved frequently, and she had the advantage of an open-minded upbringing. She was raised with the understanding that psychic phenomena and metaphysics were commonplace, and she was always exploring new avenues of growth. She became a registered nurse and worked in intensive care and home health care for the duration of her 20-plus year career. She then decided to explore the aspects of healing profession and is trained in reconnective healing and Dolores Cannon quantum physics hypnosis therapy. Her energy healing has taken on its own dimension and has formed into something that she calls light casting. Intuitive lights come from the hands and eyes to direct the energy where it is needed to balance any deficiencies in the body. This balancing may be happening on the physical, mental, and or spiritual level. While she is working in someone's energy field, she gets intuitive messages, impressions of what is happening and what is needed to help the person bring about their healing. When Julia does remote energy work, she is taken intuitively inside the body to see what the condition looks like, and then she is given methods to correct the situations. This has been a spontaneous development that continues to amaze her in its applications. Because of her nursing background, Julia brings a soothing mix of empathy, human body understanding, and intuition of her own to her own work. She is available to do light energy work in person and remotely. She's now in the process of writing about what she has learned from working alongside with her mother, Dolores Cannon, in how the body communicates to a special language to us. Her intuitive abilities continue to grow, and she is very excited to share and help others and to discover and develop their innate natural abilities. Okay, so there's her website, and this is just some of the information that she talks about. And since we are moving, into this next phase that we've moved into, part of the process that you keep hearing over and over, these new abilities, that we have these abilities that we will be developing simply because we moved into this next energetic that allows for these things to occur. So check out her information, and I'm going to jump over here to this video so you can hear in her own words what she's talking about. In this particular case, it's specifically about this new earth that Dolores has talked about a number of times. So here we go. Let's listen to Julia.
The earth splitting, okay, it pulls apart. And what they showed me, it happened one day. I was just walking out, I can't remember, I was walking out of a room making a decision about something. And I was like, or I reacted to something. I said, well, I can look at it this way or I can look at it this way. And they said, yeah. And one way is the new world and one way is the old world. I'm like, well, that's really simple. I said, that's how it is. The universe is simple. Remember that. The universe is not complicated, it is simple. If it starts getting complicated, that's ego. Okay, that's 3D ego coming in there. The universe is simple. You look at it this way or this way. And how you look at it, how you choose to look at it, determines what world you're in. And I thought, well, that's really Pollyanna. That's so simple. I was like, I see this stuff on the news every day. All this stuff happening, that's got to be what's happening. They said, that's what you want. That's what you want your world to be? Fine. It can be that. I'm like, well, that's Pollyanna to just say, oh, okay, I just choose not to look at that, and so I'll be over here, and that's my world. They're like, that's how it is. You love to make things complicated, right? Okay, that is how simple it is. This or this. The two worlds. What they've shown me, we say, when she talks about all these things happening, they're happening in the old earth, all the calamities and everything, we're like, well, that's happening now. That must indicate that I'm on the old earth. Right? What they showed me is these two earths are superimposed right now. They're sitting like, kind of like that. I mean, it looks like this, but in the worldly terms, they're like that. But anyway, they're superimposed. So this one can see this one. All right? So that's why you're able to see things. That's why it's a choice. Which way do I want to look at it? Either way you look at it puts you on this one or this one. It's just you're moving between these dimensions right now. Okay? Now, if you look at it and you say, okay, we have all these wars and these horrible things happening, that's got to be, I must be there. And you think, but ask yourself, is it really happening in my world? That's your question. At any moment, you can make it happen in your world. You can become emotionally invested in it, and you can make it be your world. That's all you have to do is get emotionally invested in it, and immediately, as in your world, you're shifted. See, that's how we want to make this so complicated. It's got to be this, I'm going to move. No, it's a shift my focus, and I have shifted my world. That is how this is. It's so simple, it's mind-blowing. And they keep showing me that, and it's just like, oh my God, that's how it is. Okay? Now, let's take that, the superimposed one, and let's move it this way. This was the vision they gave me recently. They're sitting out here like this, okay? You have the two extremes. I'm only assuming it means old earth, new earth, but they didn't say it that way. This is extreme, intense emotions. It showed red hot. All the extreme emotions. Drama, up here to this one, and this one was like a light blue. This one's a deep red. This one's like a light blue and real light and airy, and it said light, ease, and joy. That's how you know this one. Okay? That's telling you how you know them. That's all a feeling thing. Okay? What they show me, you have this little guidance system here. They said there's all these layers within there. Okay? Now, you are making choices all the time. Like I said, I can look at it this way or I can look at it this way. Every time you do something like that, you are shifting. And you're somewhere in here. Only you know where. Okay? And you're maneuvering in there based on your choices of where you want to be and how you want to look at things. How you choose, and that's a huge word, choose, to look at things. So you're maneuvering yourself and how you react to things, and that moves you back and forth. Anybody ever heard Esther Hicks, the Abraham? And she was saying they could talk with emotions. And I got it, but I didn't get it until I put it all together with this. It was like, because this is like a Geiger counter. It's an emotional guidance system that's telling you where you are. When you move, you make a choice, and you look at something, and you react to whatever, and it's all, it's light, ease, and joy. You know you just moved this way, okay? And that's just telling you, I moved toward this earth. And let's say something else happens, you've got your buttons pushed, and you reacted, and it's just over here, and you're all this drama, and it's just pulled you this way, okay? And then you have something else, and you're making a choice to look at it this way, and you're going it this way. And each time you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that feeling. I don't like that. So I'm going to consciously choose to do it differently. And that's where we are consciously creating and shifting ourselves. Up to now, we've been doing everything unconsciously. We're just whipping around and being whipped around and everything. Now we are saying, I choose. I choose. Keep moving. And it's very gradual. It can't go bam, bam in one step. Can't do it. It's a gradual thing. And that's why we don't even notice it's happening. What they've told me is the shift has already happened. You will see it when you believe it. So it's like, what's all the hubbub about? It's already done. Once you focus and you say it's already done, your whole thing will shift. Okay? As long as we keep saying, it's going to happen out here next year, and all this stuff's going to come in, all these things are going to happen, then guess what? That's what you're creating. When you go, it's already done. Beep. Now what? Okay? Let's see what else we can do. And God just gave me some cool information earlier. It was like, wow, what we have to look forward to. Because people say, well, what do we do after this? We've learned everything on this one. You go to this place where it's a whole different learning process. Then what? Oh my gosh, we have huge things in plan. Oh, it's fantastic where we're going. So that's what it's for. So anyway, that's it.
All right, very good. So we've heard this type of thing a number of times. So it would appear, just to reiterate, that we've got two Earths. We've got a third dimensional Earth, and then we have a fourth, fifth dimensional Earth. And we've pulled apart. The shift has occurred. December 21st, 2012. I know a lot of people were looking for the doom and gloom that happened to happen. Didn't happen. Wasn't supposed to happen. That was the Hollywood version. What did happen was we did go through a shift. And since that shift occurred and we've entered that doorway, things have been happening. There's been this dimensional pulling apart, and as she says, it's as easy as where we want to put our consciousness. Do we want to put our consciousness back into 3D world where things are falling apart, where wars are going on, where all this anger? Or do we want to put ourselves in the world that is positive, filled with light, happiness, all that kind of stuff? It's up to us where we want to focus our attention. And if we think about that, it makes a lot of sense. Because in the world we live in these days, we turn on the news, turn on television, we listen to what's being said around us, and the word is out there to keep a person locked in the 3D world with fear. Because that's what the 3D world has, fear. So you're kept locked in because you're showed a continual image of fear by the news in the images, day in, day out, day in, day out. Now, I think it's important that we are aware of what is out there, that we have to be aware of things of the dark side, things that are dangerous and so on. But we don't want to do so from the point of being fearful about it, and we don't want to do so to the point where we only look at fear and not have a solution, because that's a lot of what goes on. The news just pumps out fear, 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 fear. What about a solution? And so that's what, on this show, I hope that I'm bringing across a solution, that we see these problems, and the reason we wrap up every show with a meditation is to be able to take that small section of time where we look at what's going on, just to be aware of the problem, so we're not, ignorant of those, and then we go ahead and we work on the solution. The solution is to turn our consciousness to the shift, to the positive things we want. And that's what's being said over and over and over. It's not like Julia is the first one saying this, and it's not like she's going to be the last one saying this. She's just another one of those who is confirming what we know is already happening around us. So that's what we need to do. Take our consciousness where we want it to go. All right? UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. 5 stories today for the UFO News. Story number 1 takes us to Dusseldorf Airport in Germany. All right, we got a black UFO here. That object. There's the plane, so you get a point of reference. That is not a plane, at least certainly not this type. Alright, so check out the link, see what you think. Next we're going to go from Germany to this shot of a triangle UFO that shoots a beam of light towards the ground. This amazing video shows a triangle formation staying stationary while orbs leave a forest and ascend towards the huge triangle, while one shoots beams of light to the ground like a weapon being used while traveling to the formation. It's totally unusual to see such activity in a sky, and to the witness to this is something else. Whatever the beam of light was and where it hit would be a great story if ever investigated, and if it was aimed at something, animal, cottage or car, something military, we will not know. The huge dark triangle with lights spotted in each corner keeps its position and adds this credible footage as it shows the objects heading towards it fast enough. If you've ever okay, so that's what's going on there. Let me zip forward a little bit. Alright, very fascinating. What's up with this here? Alright, so the link's available so you can enlarge the screen and really get a good view of this. Pretty fascinating. Alright, moving from there. Now here's a story about a crop circle in New Mexico. This was last month in August, and it said more than 120 elk were found dead 20 miles north of Las Vegas in New Mexico. That was on August 26th. A few hundred feet there was a crop circle visible from the news helicopter. The elk were found in close proximity to each other, suggesting they were not killed by a virus. Alright, so let me give you a little listen to some of this report. It's just what I said.
Biologists are trying to unravel a mystery in northeastern New Mexico. More than 100 elk found dead on a ranch about 20 miles north of Las Vegas. The news comes as a shock to game and fish investigators and to hunters just days away from hunting season. News 13's Tina Jensen has the story.
Sky News 13 flying over a gruesome discovery on the sprawling 75,000-acre Buena Vista Ranch near Mora. A massive die-off of more than 100 elk within 1 square mile. The elk weren't shot, so Game and Fish is investigating just what caused the deaths, which seemed to happen overnight. Their top suspicion? Something called epizootic hemorrhagic disease, or EHD.
Alright, so Again, another animal die-off. This one very interesting that it was so close to a crop circle. Trying to, here you can see in the image where the crop circle is in comparison to everything. There it is. Right there. Alright, now does this have anything to do with it? I don't know. Just that there they are, and there is a crop circle near. Okay? But very, very strange that there's all these animal die-offs, don't you think? Had a lot of them. I showed you, what, 100 deer the other day, 300 dolphins. I mean, there's a lot of animals dying off, leaving the planet. Leaving the planet. Okay? Alright, this one here is UFOs over a burning ship in California. Here's the ship burning on fire, and there's 3, looks like 4 lights above it. UFO sighting 9/2013, California. From the viewpoint of the beach, you can see a few UFOs flying over or behind the ship, which appears to have a large amount of smoke coming from it. Whether or not this UFO sighting is captured during the fire of the ship is unclear. When we first viewed this tape, we thought it was UFO, might be military flares. We decided to release this interesting UFO. We have been receiving many great UFO tapes from several sources, and we appreciate it immensely. So there we go. We got the ship, which looks like it's on fire, and there's the objects above it. Pretty fascinating what that might be. What's going on here? And then you see the objects disappearing. I just wanted to peek in, see what's going on, see what the silly humans are doing now. I mean, can you imagine up on the ships, the conversation? What are the kids doing down there now? What kind of silliness are they getting into? They keep having to check in. Because, you got to admit, Earthlings are pretty silly. They do some silly things, right? Alright, Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Yesterday was the anniversary. It says on this day in 1973, Jimmy Carter filed a report with unofficial investigators of aerial phenomena, asserting that he had witnessed an unidentified flying object in 1969. Carter, who at the time was Georgia's governor, went on in 1977 to become the nation's 39th president. Although it was an unexplained event, Carter consistently has said that his knowledge of physics, as an Annapolis graduate, he had been assigned to other U.S. Navy nuclear submarine program, ruled out the possibility they had witnessed an alien spacecraft. The sighting was said to have occurred during the visit to the Lions Club in Leary, Georgia, although the date remains dispute. In his report, Carter wrote that the object was self-luminous, about as bright as the full moon. He said he had been witnessed by some about 10% persons, and they had been visible for about 10 minutes. Alright, so he says, as he put it, we were standing outside a little restaurant, I believe a high school lunchroom, and this kind of green light appeared in the western sky. This was right after sundown. It got brighter and brighter, then finally it eventually disappeared. Didn't have any solid substance to it. It was just a very peculiar looking light. None of us could understand what it was. Some investigation thought Carter had seen Venus, which was then near its maximum brightness and rising in the part of the evening sky, but Carter countered that. As an amateur astronomer, he knew what Venus looked like. During the 1976 presidential campaign, Carter pledged that if elected, he would encourage the government to make public every piece of information about UFOs. However, once in office, he said releasing this information could have some adverse defense implications and pose a threat to national security. However, more than likely what happened was that somebody came and said, Mr. Carter, there was a man by the name of Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy had some information about UFOs he wanted to have released. It's not really big public knowledge, but those who look can find out the truth of this. Mr. Kennedy wanted to say some things, and well, you know what happened to Mr. Kennedy. So, Mr. Carter, are you sure you want to continue on with your allegations that you saw a UFO? I'm sure the conversation was something to that effect, and then we never heard another word from Mr. Carter about the UFOs because Mr. Carter apparently didn't want to be shot in the head in the way Kennedy was. So, we shall never know from the Carter regime what's going on. Anyway, that's our UFO news for today. I'll be right back. I have a bunch more news. Stay tuned.
What if our government was
responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
All right, continuing on. This is a piece from a whistleblower, and he has a message that he's putting out. He has some more information he's going to release to the world, but he's kind of given a little bit of time. So let's see what happens here. I want you to listen to this, what he has to say.
For those of you that can see this video or hear this audio, I just wanted to make you aware of what's going on. I feel if I disseminate this information, I may actually get a night's sleep. I am showing my face, and I will reveal my name for my own protection. So if something were to happen to me, you know it was not an accident. My name is Robert Connors, and I have served with the Department of Defense for over 20 years. Prior to that, I served active duty campaigns in both Iran and Vietnam. I have served my country with honor and distinction. My record speaks for itself. As an ex-DoD operative, it was my duty to protect the Constitution and mitigate foreign and domestic threats in this country. I joined the department to create a safer world for my children and now grandchildren. Unfortunately, the last decade of my career, I have seen and been a part of one of the biggest threats to this great nation and its citizens. In March of 1994, I was brought in as Director of Communications for a project called Operation Sedgwick, formed under President Ronald Wilson Reagan in 1989. This program was the second stage in the project called MK Ultra. Its focus and sole purpose was the control of the African American population and urban youth through music. Yes, you heard me correctly, through music. I have in my possession a series of video and audio recordings detailing the existence of this project. My division was ordered to destroy all documentation and archive footage. I, in good conscience, could not. This is the information that the American public, along with the families involved, were told bold-faced lies about. From the first-degree murder of Lassane Parish Crooks, also known as Tupac Shakur, to the evidence of influence of entities well beyond this federal government, beyond this world, will be revealed in these tapes. To my friends still at the department, please, I repeat, please join me. For the Bible says, whoever knows the right thing to do is, but fails to do it, for him it is sin. I can no longer live in sin. So, I am giving the Department of Defense until Monday, September 23rd, to do the right thing and disclose this information. If they do not, I will release these tapes to the media outlets and into public domain via YouTube. And to show I'm not bluffing, I will release Michael Jackson's final phone call on the eve of his death. Mr. Jackson's phone was being tapped, and he is speaking of a government conspiracy to murder him. I know this video and this channel will probably be deleted, so I urge you, please save, download, and re-upload everything that I release for freedom of information's sake. God bless you. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all.
What's wrong, Michael?
I don't know if I should tell you this, but I don't know who may be listening. There may be a group of people that want to get rid of me. They don't want me here anymore.
I don't understand. What do you mean? Talk to me.
I can't talk about it over the phone. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just feel in my soul, only God knows, they could shoot me. They could stab me. They could frame me and say I overdosed you on drugs. They can do a lot of things.
Who could do these things?
It's not the government. It's more than the government. But I don't know today. I don't care. They can take me. I don't even care my life anymore. I just want my children to be okay. My angels. I want them to be safe.
Michael.
I gotta go.
All right, very, very interesting. Very interesting. So we'll see what happens with this. Let's just hope good things for this gentleman, because in the past we know that when somebody comes out and says they're going to do something on a particular day, sometimes they don't always make it to that day. Remember Andrew Breitbart? He was going to release all the information on Obama. Then he goes to a club, a bar at night, and he's walking home and he drops dead. And we hear this number of other times from other whistleblowers. So let's hope for the best on this one, and check out the link, see what you think about that one. All right, a couple stories here. We're going to switch gears. This is a story, you know, our country is being dumbed down, and has been dumbed down for a while. It's not really difficult to see. You can say, no, it's not, but all you got to do is look at the statistics to see where we rate in the world in subjects of education. Very, very low. Very, very low. So we need to have better standards, but it's hard to have those standards when those who are leading things don't have such standards themselves. And so that's part of our problem. When we have educators that are changing textbooks like we saw about the Second Amendment, or taking Thomas Jefferson out of the books, or you know, the lies that the media is telling about 9/11 and other events. When it gets to the point where society, leaders of society, start convincing you that the things that you should know intellectually you don't, there's a problem. They're rewriting information. Well, here's one of these problems right here. This is something Obama actually said. Raising the debt ceiling does not increase our debt, though it has over 100 times. In a speech at the Business Roundtable headquarters in Washington, Obama dismissed concerns about raising debt ceiling by noting that it's been done many times in the past. Now, this debt ceiling, I just want to remind people, in case you haven't been keeping up, raising the debt ceiling, which has been done over 100 times, does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy. It does say that you've got to pay the bills you've got already racked up, Congress. It's basically making a function of making sure that the full faith and credit of the United States is preserved. Obama went on to suggest that the average person mistakenly thinks raising the debt means the U.S. is racking up more debt. It's always tough vote because the average person thinks raising the debt must mean that we're running out of our debt. So people don't like to vote on it, and typically there's some gamesmanship in terms of making the president's party shoulder the burden of raising the debt. Okay. All right, let's do a little bit of basic math, okay? Because Obama says the average person misunderstands this. Well, that's kind of an insult, because let's look at it this way. Everybody knows what a house is, a room is. Rooms have ceilings, right? A ceiling is how high that you can go. The ceiling sets the limit on how high you can go. As an example, stand in your room, put a ladder up, and see if you can push yourself through the ceiling, if you can jump. No, you can't. If you real hard, but generally the ceiling stops you. That's your limit point. Okay? Now, the only reason one would raise a ceiling is because the room becomes so filled that the things in the room cannot walk around because the ceiling's too low. For example, if you had a person that was very, very tall, let's say the ceiling was only 8 feet tall and the person was 10 feet, that person would have to duck to walk around, right? Well, the ceiling would have to be raised higher in order to accommodate this larger person that's bigger than what the room would normally hold. So if we have a situation of our budget, and our budget has reached the ceiling, that means it's gone as high as it can go in the ceiling. The budget is filled to the ceiling. Now they're going to raise the ceiling. Guess what that means? It means they're making more room from the top of where that debt is, so there can be more debt. That means everything that's done from this point here forward is increasing more debt. It's really basic math, okay? It is a shame that the President of the United States doesn't understand that basic math. It's a shame that somebody who we are told has the education he has doesn't understand this basic math. But as we've seen over and over and over, there's something about this man which is not being brought to light in the public media. And so therefore, most of the public is just ignoring this. What you should be ignoring is this man trying to impress upon you these type of math skills, because he obviously does not know what he's talking about. Let's move on from there, because we understand there's a lot of things, unfortunately, he doesn't seem to know what he's talking about any more than many of those in Washington. It's a shame. But remember, it's where we tune our consciousness. I'm pointing these things out so you can be aware that there's liars, there's thieves, there's those who are misinforming you. So we need to turn our consciousness away from there. Okay? Let's just be aware that they're there and we can turn away from them. Another thing we need to be aware of is, I know a lot of people look at the TED Talks. Well, TED has aligned itself with Monsanto, halting any talks about GMOs and food as medicine or natural healing. Allow me to be the first to announce that TED is dead. Why? Because the group that organizes the so-called TED Talks has been thoroughly hijacked by corporate junk science and now openly rejects any talks about GMOs, food as medicine, or even the subject on how food can prevent behavioral disorders in children. All these areas of discussion now being red flagged from being presented at any TED stage. This is openly admitted by TEDx itself in a little-known letter publicly published on December 7, 2012. You can click here to view the letter. You'll be quite amazed. So, though there may be some good information coming out of TED, we see now that they don't want to address the GMO topic, which means we can no longer trust the information coming out of there, because we know that GMOs are poisoning people, and if an organization out there doesn't want to include that, then we need to turn our consciousness away from them, realize they're part of the problem, and we look elsewhere. Okay? That's what we're going to do right now. Now, yesterday, Project Bluebeam was a subject that was discussed, and one of the things in Project Bluebeam was putting voices inside one's head using technology. And then you saw the example of the technology from the movie Paranormal Activity, in which people walked past a billboard and then it whispered, "This is not imagination." Okay? Now, we're going to take this a step further so you can see how this technology is making itself available in the world. Transfer a secret audio message by poking someone with your finger. Disney researchers have developed a microphone to let users record a voice and then relay that message to another person simply by touching them with a finger. The microphone converts the voice message into an audible signal, which is transmitted into the body of the person holding the microphone as an inaudible signal. It can then be transmitted from the person's body to another person's body through touch. The recorded sound only becomes audible when touching someone else's ear. The ear canal acts as a sort of speaker, allowing them to listen to a secret finger-transmitted message. The sound can't be heard by anyone else but the person being touched. Kind of sounds like this bloom beam technology. And then when you hear who's involved with it, Disney, and over the course of the years, Disney has certainly been one of those organizations that the finger's been pointed at for subliminal messaging and way in which they program kids and all kind of things with their messages that are oftentimes racist and filled with misinformation and so on. So Disney is one of these media companies, one of the top media companies that's out there that has a big influence on a lot of things. And all you have to do is go look around. So it's no surprise that a company like Disney is involved with this, and it just kind of lends itself to the idea that something like this is tied in with that same type of technology that's being used with Project Bluebeam. Okay? All you got to do is look at the history, connect the dots, and it all starts to make sense. All right. Book of Revelation. Today we are up to chapter 14. Have you read through the book of Revelation before, or is this your first time that you are going through from beginning to end? Pretty fascinating, the stories that are here and how it relates to the world, isn't it? Let me get on with chapter 14. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of the harpers harping with their harps. And they sang as it were a new song before the throne, before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. They were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, and they are without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of the waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, and because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast, and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, and the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of his holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke and their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here they are that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And I heard a voice from saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead which die in their Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold a white cloud, and upon the white cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle, and reap, for thy time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he sat at the cloud thrust of his sickle of the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather thy clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in the sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the great wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, and even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. And that is chapter 14. Interesting how they are in here talking about some of the very same things, that are going on, the reaping, the harvesting. Well, right now we have a full moon, and it's called the harvest moon. It's the full moon before the harvest season begins, so it's the harvest moon. All right, here is our message for today. This is Mother Mary with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene.
Mother Mary with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, Divine Inspiration, channeled by Franzipeda, September 16, 2013.
Mother Mary with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene.
My dear ones, I speak today with my beloved soul family, including this channel, to spread our deep love to you from behind the veil, but not really so far behind the veil in essence, as we are all communing together with you to anchor the love and light further upon this planet and the universe and all the multiverses. And suffice to say that I have always been with you, imparting inspiration and insight that awakens your own. And this is the process you are moving through, awakening your own divine knowledge and insight and inspiration. Divine inspiration is a beautiful concept. It means breath of God, of Creator, and as such it is your divine birthright and your divine essence. It is always at your disposal. It is insights and love energy with the purpose of awakening your inner resources of knowledge and creativity. Think of it as a bellows that with more air, in the form of love and light, it sparks the embers of the eternal fires into pure glowing golden light that is pervading all right now, within you and without you and around the globe and universe and multiverses. It is a beautiful thing, this divine inspiration. It fuels your actions, it fuels your knowing, and it fuels your unique mark upon the world. Your creative inspiration is the key to transformation and the spread of your essence of love throughout all perpetuity, throughout all eternity, existing in the now and glowing in its wholeness and fullness of life. Your awakening, dear ones, is coming to fruition. It is marking your future in the now. It is building your essence to wholeness, and you feel it, do you not? I love you beyond words, and I impart now my love through this channel so you feel the magnitude of it. Imagine yourself now in a beautiful meadow with golden white light permeating your entire being. Feel it on your skin and feel it within, in every cell of your body. Step into it now so that it is the only thing you are experiencing. Imagine now it permeating your heart and feel the glow as I transmit my love to you, as we as a group extend our love to you. Recognize it as the potential love you can impart to yourselves. Recognize it as the love you can impart to others. Now feel it within, as such a huge ball of light permeating you and everything around you so that you do not feel the difference or demarcation between you and outside of you. Revel and luxuriate in this love and golden white light so it is the only thing that exists now in this moment. You may start to see pink and magenta or other colors and rays. Allow it to permeate. Feel the warmth. Feel the very power of it. Melt within it. Know it spreads out as far as the proverbial eye can see, the eye of your multidimensional selves, that is. Feel the oneness that this invokes. You are now floating within and upon this beautiful light permeating your very being and on out to infinity. Sit with this a while. Allow the warmth and glow to sustain you. Notice anything that may come up in emotion or insight and be with it and release gently what no longer serves you, transmuting it and allowing your being to clear and become lighter because of it. You are venturing now into this oblivion of love, dear ones. It is becoming your very means and purpose of living. And for that, you can thank yourselves for allowing it. We love you, with our pure hearts to your pure hearts. You are Creator's magnificent creation, and in that and from that you are creating what you most cherish, for you are cherished by Creator, and by us, for all that you are now in this moment, becoming more pure and illuminated with each breath you take. So keep breathing in the light and inspiration that is your birthright, your increased knowing of your divine essence and all it entails. In it and within it is all you are and all you need and all you know, and it increases as you go deeper into your glowing essence, now in this moment. All my love is yours, from my heart to yours, magnified by the love of my beloved Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and all the company of heaven.
Very nice message. And the angel message for today, let's see what our angel has to say to us. The angel says, now is the time to put your own needs first. It is not selfishness, it is honoring your own life's path. Very important, okay? Because we all have things in past that we're following, but we all get caught up oftentimes in life, and sometimes we need to take time to just honor ourselves. Not worry that we're being selfish in the regard, because it's necessary just sometimes to honor ourselves. Take time out for ourselves. Focus on what it is we need to do without all those other voices of influence. Very important. So let's contemplate that idea during the course of this meditation. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. Okay, let's imagine all of the chakras are activated, starting at the bottom of the spine, red, orange at the belly button, yellow at the solar plexus, green at the heart, blue at the throat, indigo at the third eye, violet at the crown chakra. I want you to imagine this light pouring down into your body. And as this light pours down from above through all the chakras, I want you to see the pure white light that is pouring down. And just imagine this color white as it's going through your body. And see this white light with this golden color to it. And feel it as it enters through the crown chakra and it's moving down through all of the chakras and the colors. This golden light, this golden white light goes down and retains its whiteness, its golden color, but also takes on the color of each of these chakras. Do you have this multiple amount of colors flowing through your body? Feel the energy that is within you. Feel the warmth of each one of the chakras, the temperature that it exhibits. Feel the vibration of the energy associated with each chakra. Now, imagine that you are standing out in space, looking at the earth. And as you look at the earth, you see the earth begin to vibrate and shake. And slowly the earth begins to pull apart. And you have one earth. The earth that's pulling apart to the left side is the earth of the physical 3D world. And the earth that is pulling apart, moving to the right, is the earth of the 5D world. And we could see that we are pulling apart dimensionally, these two earths. And as we look at the earth of the physical world, we see the wars and the problems and everything that's going on that we are so familiar with. And at the other earth, a carbon copy of the world that we live in now, we see that there are not any of these problems. There is love, there is light, there is freedom. And we have a choice of which world we want to remain on. And the choice is that easy. It's just a matter of shifting our consciousness to where we want to be. So take a look at the two worlds, and you see the world with all the violence and the fighting and the wars, and you realize that that no longer serves you, no longer serves us. So you take a step onto the earth that has shifted, to the earth that is vibrating with a higher frequency, to the earth that is filled with love, where love is honored, where lies are not accepted, where truth is supreme. And we stand in this new world and we just contemplate for ourselves how easy this actually is to turn our consciousness from one thing to another. We realize that the traps that are set for us along the way to keep us focused on those war and those fear-like ideas. But when we turn our attention otherwise, and we experience the true nature of things, we experience the love and the light that is available for all of us. So let's imagine ourselves now standing in that new world that is pulled apart, the world of positivity, of love, of light. Let us imagine us in that new earth. And let us just send love and compassion to the old earth that is breaking away. And let's send compassion to all of those who, for whatever reason, choose to remain upon the earth, the old earth. And the love and compassion to them to deal with whatever it is they're going to need to deal with along the way. And just allow yourself, your consciousness now, to remain with the positive, with the new that has been set before us. So let your subconscious mind continue contemplating that ways of the new world. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Now before you open your eyes, I want you to imagine your conscious mind taking a clue from the unconscious mind, and by turning its attention to the positive. So that is not just the unconscious mind that is turning away from all of the negative, but the conscious mind as well. So turn your conscious mind, focus on that new earth, and just allow it to be in your life. Take a deep breath, exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show for today. The whole kit and caboodle. As a matter of fact, today is kind of the end of a long journey and the beginning of a new journey. Today is my 999th show. It's been a long journey, but I've enjoyed every minute of it. Tomorrow is the 1000th show, new milestone for myself for First Contact Radio. I'm very grateful that you've been here along the way. I'm going to talk more about things tomorrow. And that's it. So you have an awesome day. I'll be back tomorrow. Keep loving each other, and I'll see you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.